Shapiro powering through on a Monday here.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
I mean,
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm pretty impressed.
I think,
thought you were going to be a goner, to be honest with you, after the first hour.
Not feeling too good, but, as you know, I do attack people.
You don't
from
sound
time
bad,
to time.
You sound okay.
And,
you do.
There was somebody mutual that we know.
Right.
That said, that bragged about mass shootings being down even though gun sales are up when nobody is gathering in the masses. And he bragged about that on social media. That's somebody that I'm going to make fun of because it's very ignorant.
And
but
you
anyway,
know who you are out there.
Yeah, you know who you are. But anyway, I want to talk.
I think it's sound logic, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very logical. I know you don't believe
It
that.
is logic.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about Mayor Carolyn Goodman. Carolyn Goodman did an interview with Anderson Cooper last week, and it became viral. And as I'm watching the interview in real time, it was after our show. Stein, was it Wednesday or Thursday? It was Wednesday, right? Wednesday. And I'm watching it with Stein, and I said to him, I looked at him, and I said, this is going to be huge. Because she was saying things that I couldn't believe.
And
right?
not in a good way, right, Brian?
In a bad way. Not in the good huge that Donald Trump says.
Yeah.
So I didn't think she would be – I thought she would kind of stay away from social media after that interview. I thought she would just, keep a low profile. Well, I was wrong. Because now she's saying without any definitive evidence that the city's warm weather will allow it to be at the forefront of America's reopening. That's what she tweeted out. Completely ignorant, and it's wrong. And there's a lot of people that are continuing to blast her because she's keeping her name in the news. It was even some of the ladies of The View that are ripping Mayor Goodman. And by the way, they're not all Democrats. Meghan McCain did as well. But let's start with Whoopi Goldberg. Here's what I never thought we'd see the day where Whoopi Goldberg was talking about Las Vegas Mayor Carolyn Goodman. Guess what? I was wrong. This is Whoopi Goldberg in her own words.
I've performed in Vegas for years. We've done The View in Vegas. Every one of us has spent time in Vegas. This is the most insane thing I've ever heard. And I look at what the mayors are doing around the country to keep their cities, safe and great. And then this woman is saying, well, I don't know what to tell them. They have to figure it out. What the hell?
Yeah, she's right. Even Meghan, my daddy McCain, had something to chime in on. And remember, she's a Republican, Meghan McCain. Here's what she had to say in regards to Mayor Carolyn Goodman.
She reminded me of one of those teachers in middle school that you used to have that was such a jackass and trying to talk to Anderson Cooper in this really reductive way. And Anderson Cooper, no matter what you think of him, he's one of the most famous journalists in the world. And she was saying, he was asking her really legitimate questions if you're going to open up casinos and put your constituents in possible danger and possibly put their lives at risk, how are you going to make this okay? And she said, that's not my job. You're the mayor of Las Vegas. That's entirely your job to figure it out. And I just thought, it's the worst of the worst of the worst of the kind of politicians in this country. And I have said many times on this show, I've been having this existential awakening that there are really, really horrible people in office. And this woman for me is patient zero, not to use a medical term, but she's just the worst example of someone. And she'll probably end up losing something over this because, again, it was just so egregious.
All right. Now, I agree with a lot of what you said, but as far as that existential awakening, I had an existential awakening over the weekend. And in that awakening, it told me that the only reason why Meghan McCain has a job and the only reason why anybody knows who she is because of her father, because she's accomplished nothing in her life. My daddy. Just shut up. But I agree with her there, by the way. I do agree with her. Joy Behar, as you know, is a huge left-winger. Okay, she's a liberal.
No
but
question,
you knew she was going to chime in on this, right, when it came to Carolyn Goodman. Here's what Joy Behar had to say.
Listen, I'm thinking there may be a role for her in the White House. She fits right in there, We better watch your back, Kellyanne Conway.
Yeah,
she makes a solid point there. You have to admit, you guys.
Yeah, I mean, she does. She does. But, okay, so I think this is fair. What do you guys say? Fair for The View to be going after Carolyn Goodman? I think it's totally fair.
Well, it's fair for anybody because what she put on display last week was an utter embarrassment for the city of Las Vegas. It was not based in any type of fact. It wasn't based in any type. Now, look, when it comes to the mayor, there's no question. And Brian and JD, we pointed out the relationship that particularly you, Brian, have with Oscar Goodman, and what we know about the Goodmans here in Las Vegas. That was utterly embarrassing, what took place last week, given, the approach she took. And we absolutely understand here, right? She is a cheerleader for the city, and I appreciate that. As someone who's been in Las Vegas for 18 years, Chris. I appreciate that. And we all are, JD. We all are. But you cannot go out there.
You haven't been here as long as she has, Chris.
I've been here for 17, 18 years, JD.
But
that doesn't really have anything to do with it.
She has watched her husband build this city from 75,000 to 2.3 million.
Yeah, but I'm just responding.
That's more reason.
JD, what she said was utterly, first of all, not factual on a number of levels. A number of points that she brought up were completely ridiculous.
Which ones?
And then she went down the road of she was talking about the situation like it was insane that we shut down at all. And then she was bringing the issue that came up regarding the restaurant in China.
She brought up typhus.
JD, you got to let me finish talking about what was ridiculous that she talked about.
Yeah.
She was getting interviewed by Anderson Cooper, and Anderson brought up a diagram of a restaurant in China, which, by the way, as someone who works in a restaurant, has worked in restaurants and bars for 30 years, I have a little bit of knowledge on this, okay? It was basically, he was bringing up the point that in restaurants, okay, it can be very easy to transmit some type of pandemic like this. And then she brought up the fact that, well, it's China. We're in Las Vegas here. That's China. As if it's not something that's universal when it comes to.
Again,
how about using us as basically a testing?
Well, I can only talk about one thing at a time. I can't bring up every single thing that was ridiculous.
That wasn't a point. What she said was that
it wasn't a point. It was exactly the point.
No, she had a conversation.
It was 100% the point, JD.
She revealed a private conversation that she had with her statistician, which she should have never done. That's what happened there.
No.
She said,
You're wrong, JD.
I asked my group if we could be a control or a control group.
You're misrepresenting what the conversation was.
That's literally what she said. All she did was yes, it was.
It was Anderson Cooper presenting the scenario of a restaurant.
Whether,
and he put a floor plan out there and showed
talking about
people,
something different.
You're talking about something
different.
different.
Well, I mean, as far as the China restaurant, I don't believe anything coming out of China in regards to this virus.
I'm just making the point that it was ridiculous what you said.
Okay,
it was absurd.
But
that's all I'm trying to point out.
But after what happened with the World Health Organization and with the actual reporting, the misinformation of the cases and the deaths and everything that we know that China actually was.
But that has nothing to do with how she responds on national TV.
I have no faith in a diagram coming out of China under those circumstances.
And JD, it has nothing to do with how she responds on a national platform about Las Vegas.
Setting up Las Vegas to be a control group, what I'm saying is she had a private.
Another ridiculous thing.
She had no, I agree, but she had a private conversation and she let the conversation go. She didn't bring it up.
What about the fact that she
talked about a conversation she had with her statistician, Jeremy Aguero.
She's friends with the mayor of L.A.
Right.
Okay. And the mayor of L.A., as you may or may not know, has done a lot of good things as far as testing goes. He has been involved in the testing aspect of making sure that, to the best of his ability, that people in L.A. can be tested. So Anderson Cooper said, well, since that's the case, what are you doing, Mayor Carolyn Goodman? Since you have an opinion that the Strip should be opened up and everything should be opened up tomorrow, what have you done to help testing? Nothing. She's done nothing because she said that isn't her job. She does not represent Las Vegas well. She doesn't represent anybody in this state well, as far as I'm concerned. And that interview she did was embarrassing. And I think 99% of people would agree with that statement.
Brian and JD, it would be easier to point out the things that she brought up that were actually normal and rational, as opposed to the things that she brought up that were ridiculous and made no sense.
Let's get to the phone calls, as I promised I would again. 702-257-5396. Again, that number, if you want to chime in, is 257-5396. Let's go to Mike. Mike, you're first up in the Vegas take.
Brian,
what's up?
how you doing?
Good, man. What's on your mind?
Mike?
Hey, I just got something close to home here. Listen, everybody's in the same position. We keep hearing this. We're all in this together, right?
Yeah.
Well, I can't get through to unemployment, and I wish that you guys would talk more about that and bring some light to it. Because
I've been trying to talk about that as well, but that's just not something we've been covering lately.
Well, we
can talk about it right now because someone who dealt with it
you guys, listen, you guys are really entertaining. A lot of my views are different than your views. I can appreciate that. You guys are entertaining. I listen to you guys every day.
Thank you. Mike, can I respond with the unemployment in your situation, if I may? And stay on the line, please, sir. And by the way, I'm sorry you're going through that.
Yeah,
I've said
my
from
girlfriend has 4 kids.
Yeah,
and she's
no, I understand. It's terrible.
One check in 6 weeks.
Mike, how much was that check that you received?
$469.
Mike, inexcusable. And I've said this since day one. This state was not prepared. And we're not the only one, by the way. For all these people, they just weren't prepared for all these people filing for unemployment.
We're actually we're the least prepared state in the country for this, and our economy is set up in the worst possible way to deal with it, Brian.
Look, but JD,
and I agree. But the buck stops with the buck stops with the governor, right? So
absolutely.
Like today, I'm just going to give you for instance. Today, speed dialing on my cell phone because technology makes you dial quicker, right? 852 dials into unemployment. 852. And at 9:44
Can I ask you a question? Because what I was going to finish in saying is that I understand you've been calling. Did you try to go on their website? Did you try to go that route?
Absolutely.
And no success?
Because I did the proper thing and I claimed my closure pay. Right. And for some reason now they're delaying my thing. Yeah. And I know a lot of people that
well, there's no question. I mean, here's the thing. We can get somebody from the unemployment office that could come on our show and maybe talk about the difficulties that they're having, but I'm not sure that's going to help you. What we do know is that there are a plethora of people that have been trying to collect unemployment. Some have been fortunate, some have not. It's not an excuse.
Yeah.
It's not an
excuse.
And Mike, who do you work for? Do you work for like a casino? Caesars.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, and to the caller, Mike, to the caller. Look, I mean, I let's get to the elephant in the room here. Do you think that? I mean, are you trying to portray this as something that's political, as if Steve Sisolak has some animosity towards people,
listen, and
that's why there's glitches in the system?
I told you, screen caller.
Yeah,
there's too much of that going on right now, and, and this is the Vegas take. So we're going to take it close to home, and you guys, like I said, you're very entertaining. I listen to you every day, and I try to anyway.
Thank you.
The problem is people, and I'm not the only one, like you said, in this position, but there are people that we pay into this fund. They should have just opened the gates. If you qualified for unemployment,
right. I agree.
Yeah.
Listen, Steve, JD made the comment. JD made the comment earlier, and by the way, we appreciate your call, and I'm sorry you're having to go through. I'm sorry you're having to go through that. Yeah. JD made the claim earlier, which was completely incorrect, and I took offense to it. That because he thinks I'm a Democrat, which I'm not. He was wrong on that too. That I don't think about the economy, and I don't think about people like you. Make no mistake about it, sir. I do feel for people like you, people that are struggling. Your girlfriend, it's horrible, and the only advice I can give you is keep trying. Try to get through. I'm hoping you get lucky. It's inexcusable. Who do we put the 100% of the blame on? Well, we can have that discussion, but it's not really going to help you. We hope that you get the money you need to survive. We hope that you're able to get back to work as soon as you can, so long as it's safe. And I don't think that can label me a Democrat for having that attitude. 702-257-5.
Good call, Mike. And you know what? They're actually 2 to 3 weeks behind. So people like Mike, there are probably tens of thousands of people like Mike, and that's a good point. 4 kids, $467. Their lives have been drastically altered because of what's taking place.
That's not necessarily correct.
You look.
I'm going to chime in because I'm someone who deals with this. Okay, who actually is dealing with the website.
But haven't you gotten a check?
And it's not about a time period. It's just about certain people that are having issues with glitches in the system and technicalities. It's not an overall thing where everybody in Nevada unemployment is having issues.
You're just saying he's unlucky. You're saying he's not fortunate. And I'm saying that there's so many people that are applying for unemployment that the system can't handle it.
Well, that's 100% true, and and by the way, that's true all over the country. That's not something specific to Nevada, but that's all over the country.
You've got 3 million people in Nevada, and almost 400,000 are unemployed, Chris. 3 million, including
you're throwing numbers out again,
including children.
That don't really change the discussion.
So the actual unemployment rate for Nevada could hit 35%.
I understand,
which is unprecedented for the United States of America.
What's your point?
I understand what your point is.
The point is we need to be open up more than any other state in the country. Because we're not set up to handle this, and on top of that, we're handling. Of course, there's a connection there. And on top of that, we're handling the virus very well.
The fact of the matter is this: we're going to be one of the last states that opens up, because we are based on hospitality,
which is completely insane. And if that happens, Chris,
the dynamics of the city and the state.
I got you with the Strip.
We're not going to open up first.
I'm not talking about the Strip. I'm talking about the local businesses outside of the Strip. The Strip owners, they have money.
Okay.
Sheldon Allison's worth $37 billion.
You know what the beauty of this
MGM's got $3.8 billion in cash. I'm talking about the guy that's got 20 employees who can't work right now, who can't do anything, who's got his entire life savings into his business.
So let's
you got a got a lot of those people.
You're talking about the
in Las
problems.
Vegas
I'm talking about
in
what's going
particular.
to happen in reality. Okay,
And
this
I'm
is a
saying,
state that does depend
in reality,
highly on hospitality.
in reality, Chris,
I work in hospitality.
all the money that comes through sales tax is used to pay for the city employees and the state employees and the county employees.
Yes, you made this point on social media yesterday.
You're
by
right.
The way,
And what did I say?
There's a number of things that are wrong with it.
And what did I say?
Okay, because you're acting like it's something specific.
I'm saying the city is going to be so
not.
broke that we can't afford police officers, and every single business and every single unless federal financing comes through, which $9 million did come through yesterday in federal grants for police officers.
There are no full-time.
That happened. That did take place.
Have any full-time police officers been laid off?
110 police department employees were laid off last week. Yes,
part-timers.
And right now we're expected to lose $1 billion over the next year. And even after all this, after the $70 million in expected cuts, we'll still be behind $156 million. So there's one city that needs to be, or one place that needs to be open. It's Nevada, and there's one city. It's Las Vegas. And I think if this continues, we're going to open up on our own.
257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Steve. Steve, you're next up on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Steve?
Hi, guys. Enjoying your show. If you can give me just a couple of minutes about isolation, a few things. If you isolate, yes, it is good. And I know Brian's going to go crazy. Just relax, man. It is good to isolate to a certain point. Kids that grow up on farms and put dirt in their mouth and around bacteria, they end up with less viruses, diseases as they get older. People who use too much Listerine mouthwash can end up with chronic mouth infections.
Wait, are you suggesting kids should put dirt in their mouth and that could help them during the coronavirus? I'm trying to follow you here.
They play around bacteria, their bodies develop an immunity. By severe isolation, we are inhibiting the body's natural immunity. The other thing is this, like I said about the mouthwash, people who use that too much, they kill the good and the bad bacteria. There's a delicate balance. And the thing about the UV rays, JD may be right, they use that to purify milk, if I'm not mistaken. So if he believes in that company...
So if it purifies
all right,
milk...
so first of all, he said maybe right. So maybe right already is going to cause a problem with all of us.
Well, when a hospital like Chris, when a hospital like Cedars-Sinai gets behind a study, then there's a reason for it.
Okay, well, let me just...
Or gets behind there's a reason for it.
Okay, well, let me
see how it shakes out.
Let me just...
You're right.
Okay, let me go back to what I said at the beginning of that segment. Okay. Just because somebody may be right, or you think maybe, does not give the President of the United States the green light to discuss it when there are millions of people watching. Some of those people are dumb and ignorant. Not everybody intelligent watches those. It doesn't give him the right to talk about it.
Just because 2.2 million people may die of this virus, it does not give the entire country, does not give Anthony Fauci and Deborah Birx the right to recommend that the entire country be shut down for 3 months. Unemploying 26 million. No, I'm not saying. I'm saying the cure is much worse than the virus at this point.
You're justifying the president's
based on what's going on with the economy. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
All right, let's go to the next caller. Next caller, 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Gabe. Gabe, you're next on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Gabe?
Gabe, go ahead. Did we lose Gabe? I think we did.
I'm here.
Hello? Okay, go ahead, Gabe.
How you doing, guys? Just want to say awesome show. Listen every time I drive.
Thank you.
Quick backdrop. I'm a delivery driver. I'm fortunate enough to still have my job, but my pay got cut in half. So I did file for unemployment, hoping that goes through.
Yeah.
Just told my fellow coworkers about it because all their pays got cut just as bad as mine. I used to make $1,000 every 2 weeks. Now I only make $600. So it shot me, and I need help.
Well, that
mortgage,
sucks.
bills, everything. So
sure, no, I understand. And keep in mind that you're not even one of the worst cases. I mean, at least you're still able to work. I know that probably doesn't bring you a lot of happiness, but about all those people that are even in a worse situation than yours. I mean, I certainly feel for you, but I'm glad that at least your company has still employed you. As far as unemployment goes, you're still making some money. So as far as unemployment, you're probably not going to make a lot. They're going to base it off of how much money you're making now. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're making over $30,000 a year right now, even with your cut hours, I'm not sure how much unemployment you're going to be able to get. So you have to be. I'm just trying to prepare you for that. That's all.
Much. No, not even.
Okay,
no.
I got you. So you'll probably get something, which is better than nothing. But I feel for you. You know, there's a lot of people out there just like you that even if they're not unemployed, doesn't mean they're still not struggling. And I understand.
Right. I totally agree with that, and I thank you for that. But one quick question. So I have a friend. He's an older gentleman, and his whole entire life is just set on gambling. And he lives in Vegas. That's why he moved to Vegas. And I keep on arguing over him about this one thing. Should we open the city? Me as a driver, and as I like it, traffic is low, but I know I'm only 26. Like, I know this is going to affect everything for the next, like,
So what's your friend's argument?
I say open up the city, honestly. Like, I say open it up, put face masks, wear gloves, wear goggles.
Here's the thing. Okay, and listen, I appreciate that thought, and I appreciate the phone call. Here's my opinion on that. We cannot open up the city just because people want to get back to work. We have to open up the city when...
Yes, we can.
No, we can't. When it is deemed safe. And people can protest, and they can be upset, and they can go on social media and say whatever they want. I promise you this about Governor Sisolak. Say what you want about him. He's not going to make a decision because some people might be a little bit upset. And by the way, a small percentage of people are those that are protesting.
And I'll tell you what, people like Governor Sisolak who leverage social media to get their word out, who are very, very concerned with their public image, will actually respond to protests.
Okay. Well,
and
you're
things
thinking
like that.
from the Trump
I
playbook.
would argue,
I disagree with you.
I think Sisolak actually operates a lot like Trump does with the way that he handles social media.
Well, you know what? You've called
with the way that he has these press briefings once a week or something along those lines.
Okay.
I think that he has a lot of he's very Trumpian in his approach, and I think that he kind of
disagree.
Sometimes he acts like a dictator, like when he told us that we couldn't get a haircut for 6 weeks. We couldn't get haircuts at home because he hasn't gotten a haircut.
To compare him to Trump is absurd.
Again, that is my opinion, Brian. You don't have to agree with it. I'm perfectly fine with that. Okay. Same with you, Chris. But I believe that he will respond to a lot of digital media pressure.
But can I point out the difference between Sisolak and Trump real quickly? The difference between Sisolak and Trump when it comes to press conferences is Sisolak, when it comes to his press conferences, they're based in fact. They're based in public health officials. They're based in scientists, doctors who are analyzing the situation. When Donald Trump gets up there, he doesn't even talk about that. Yes, he has doctors, okay, and he does have people that are serious people
and
that
he
get up there and talk.
He's not a doctor.
But when it's Donald Trump, he is not factual. The guy lies more than any politician in the history of politicians.
Let me make a quick point. Point before we get back to the phone calls. I want to make a quick point. Now, JD, you've been on the record on this show as calling Governor Sisolak a scumbag, and you talked about. I know, absolutely not. I have never once called him a scumbag on the show. Are you joking? I thought you did.
No,
I thought you did. Well, you have brought up his affair, alleged affair that took place over a decade ago.
Do you know where that stemmed from?
If I could just finish my question.
A lawsuit in 2012.
Okay, I have to get through my statement and my question to you, otherwise we're never going to get to any other callers. It happened a while back where you allege he had an affair, okay? And then you've brought up stuff
public record.
And then you've brought up stuff like a lawsuit that he had with the airport.
He did?
Donald Trump has had several ex-wives. He is the king of infidelity. He bragged about sexual assault. He's talked about women's looks in a negative way. Why haven't you gone after him like you go after Steve Sisolak?
I just think that whatever you think about Donald Trump, I think very similar about Steve Sisolak, which I'm completely entitled to. There's nothing wrong with that.
Let's go with that. Has Sisolak ever gone after someone who has been a prisoner of war?
I really have no idea.
He hasn't.
I don't.
The answer is no.
I've seen Sisolak talk.
Has he bragged about sexual assault?
Maybe 9 times in my life. I've seen Trump talk probably 13,000. Mm-hmm. So there's a little bit more of a body of work to go off of there, Brian. So
Steve Sisolak,
that's a tough comparison to make because Donald Trump is much more in the public eye.
You just made the comparison 5 minutes ago.
I'm just saying you're talking about how they said the same thing.
You just said they have a lot in common.
Steve Sisolak has not had the face time.
Has not had the
face time that Donald Trump has.
I'm responding to what you said.
I'm saying how Brian feels about Donald Trump. I probably feel the same way about Steve Sisolak.
Okay, but you just compared the two, not me. You're the one who made that comparison. That's why we're talking.
No, you're saying you brought up something that Trump said. I'm saying Trump has been on TV,
and you brought up
literally
the comparison.
thousands and thousands of hours in the last 2 years. So in the last 3.5 years, Sisolak is rare. I mean, he's not. He doesn't get the press time that Trump does. So he hasn't had the opportunity to say the things that Trump has.
I would never make that comparison. That's all. Let's get back to the phone calls.
Totally out of order.
No, not at all. 702, talking about the human being. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's try to squeeze in one more call. Let's go to Grace. Grace, you're next on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Grace?
Hey, what's up? Okay, basically I want to talk about Sisolak. And I'm not saying we should open up the whole city and the casinos, but I think you have to use common sense towards opening Vegas and closing all the beauty shops when you could do, or haircutting things. You do common sense. I just went into Siena Deli, only 4 people allowed in at the time. Everybody did social distancing. Why can't they be used in opening other businesses that are having hard times.
Okay, let me pose this to you. You brought up certain businesses, right? You brought up the beauty salon and barber shops. How in God's name can we open up these actual businesses where you can absolutely not practice social distancing? You can't do it.
Why can't
you
you practice social distancing? You only allow so many people.
Are you
You can't do it. There's people that are cutting your hair. There's people that are doing your nails. You can't do it. There's no way to do it.
Unless you're Edward Scissorhands.
Right.
I don't know how you could be 6 feet away from somebody in cutting somebody's hair. I don't know how you can cut somebody's
Grace,
nails.
very good call.
I don't know how you can cut somebody's nails and be 6 feet apart.